so sorry, my iPad crashed. Restarting. Again, we're plugging in a 2, so quickly rewriting this. We were at 4, plug this in. 23 minus 3 minus 8. So then, as I was saying, we still have to evaluate inside there. So I have 3 minus 8. So I have 23 minus the absolute value. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. And then again, you want to completely simplify that absolute value portion first. So what is the absolute value of negative 5? How far away from 0 is negative 5? We just get 5. So then I get 23 minus 5 ends up giving me final answer. Okay. So again, just like whenever we were evaluating before, only difference here, your grouping symbols are your absolute value. That comes first. You have to simplify that all the way down until you're actually finding that absolute value. Questions 3, 4, and 5, doing the same thing. We have a couple different values. F is equal to 3, G is equal to negative 4, H is equal to 5. So question 3 says evaluate absolute value of 3 minus H. H is equal to 5. So let's take that first step. 3 minus H, I'm going to replace as 3 minus 5 and then plus 13. Simplify inside first. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So the absolute value of negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. Add those together and you get your final answer. For number 4, I'm plugging in a negative 4. So typically when you're plugging in negatives, you want to take extra careful attention to how you're simplifying things and where your negative signs are going. First, I'm only going to rewrite it, replacing my G with a negative 4. I'm going to simplify inside, negative 4 plus 9. So if I'm at 4 negative and I add 9 to it, that puts us at positive 5. My absolute value of 5 is just 5. So now I have 16 minus 5. It's going to give you 11. And then our last one, we're plugging something in for each of these values. F is equal to 3. So I'm going to say 3 plus negative 4 minus 5. First step I'm going to take here is to just clean it up. I don't like looking at all of those symbols next to each other. Adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3 minus 4. That way I clear out some of those symbols and I can think about it a little bit easier. Now I'm subtracting 3 minus 4. That's negative 1. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So then I'm doing 1 minus 5, which gives me negative 4. Okay. So all that you have to submit to me is this homework. So number 1, just like we just did, plug in these values. Some of them might become a little bit more complicated because you have your fractions, but just remember your fraction rules. You're doing it exactly the same as we just did on those 4. You have a value for A, B, C, Y, X, Y, and Z. Plug them in. Question number 2 asks you about percent error. So again, that kind of talks about this first situation here where I was talking about the religious books. If 66% said they read religious books, you cannot account for everybody. So we kind of open up our frame a little bit on both ends. So in this, you're talking about a circle graph. How likely is it that you will be rich someday if the margin of error is 4%? So you have not likely at all, very likely, fairly likely, not likely. So then if the margin of error is plus or minus 4%, you're looking at number of teens who said very likely. So just look at your very likely section. You have 15%. So think about what that plus or minus 4% is going to be there. And you're given kind of the same type of thing down here for question number 3. For competition, the cheerleading team is preparing a dance routine that must last 4 minutes with a variation of plus or minus 5 seconds. So that kind of means the same thing. Variation means that we're giving ourselves a little bit of leeway. So 4 minutes, adding that 5 seconds on either end. So find the least and greatest possible times in minutes and seconds. And then this question is just asking you to completely change it all into seconds. So that question, definitely make sure you're paying attention to the units that you're working in. Whereas I'm talking about 4 minutes here, but that variation or that margin of error is in terms of seconds. Okay? So all I need you to turn in is this 2.5 homework day 1. Once you finish, add it into Google Classroom, and then I will see some of you back here tomorrow whenever we start solving equations.